Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a loaded episode from the Hawks making their two front office hirings official, to them potentially adding a veteran sharpshooter in free agency, someone that might have been a former Hawk, to them weighing potentially taking a versatile senior prospect out of Colorado State at pick 22 in the NBA draft, which is just now 6 days away, to them potentially exploring a trade with the Dallas Mavericks to bolster depth at center, something that's obviously a big concern for Atlanta heading into a pivotal offseason. So whether you're tuning in for front office intel or thinking about what the Hawks might do with their trade exception and their mid-level exception, we got you covered. So without further ado, let's get into it and talk about how after 2 weeks of, it was reported originally by Shams, but we were waiting on word from the front office themselves. The Atlanta Hawks have announced the hirings of Bryson Graham as Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations and also Peter Dinwiddie as the Senior Vice President of Strategy and Analytics. This news was obviously first reported by Shams Charania nearly 2 weeks ago. We're actually very much coming up on 2 weeks ago in a couple days. It was confirmed by the team yesterday, and we have some statements by the front office. So new general manager Anzi Saleh had high praise for the duo in the announcement, stating, "We are fortunate to be able to add Bryson and Peter to our leadership team. Bryson is widely regarded as one of the league's top young talent evaluators, and Peter is one of the most strategic minds in the NBA." Now, let's break down who these guys are. I mean, we've talked about them before, but it's good to remind everyone because these are good hirings, especially Bryson Graham, and we'll start with him. He comes over after a 15-year run with the New Orleans Pelicans. He grew from as low as possible as you can be with an NBA organization to as high as possible you can be from an intern to a GM. I mean, he began as a front office intern in 2010 and worked his way up the ladder. I mean, truly an organic come up. From serving roles from video coordinator to scouting director to assistant GM and then to GM. He was obviously GM most recently during the 2024-25 campaign. I mean, his strong background in player development and collegiate scouting will be vital as, the Hawks lean in a youth forward strategy. He's got a real eye for talent, especially at the forward position, and that's obviously something the Hawks are going to prioritize in this year's draft. And they obviously have two mid first round picks, so it's going to be someone who they're bringing in strategically, and it's someone who I'm very glad is on the Hawks roster now. I mean, I wrote an article about it as soon as the hirings happened because this is someone who is severely underrated for his time that he spent in New Orleans. I mean, it didn't show up in the team record, but he was someone who was very impactful for them evaluating the talents of Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins, Jose Alvarado. I mean, he's a genius when it comes to talent evaluation, and that's something that can seriously benefit Atlanta moving forward. So aside from that, Peter Dinwiddie was also hired from the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, he has spent the last 5 seasons with the Philadelphia 76ers as their executive VP of basketball operations. He also had a long tenure with the Pacers, rising from inside sales in 2006 to senior vice president of basketball ops by 2020. His analytic-heavy background and front office experience really make him a perfect strategic complement to Graham. These are strategic hires. I mean, the Hawks are finding front office members who really have their niche and can fit into the role that they are really searching for. I mean, Saleh is currently building a diverse and experienced front office, one that mixes evaluation with analytics. I mean, the Hawks are comfortable going forward with Anzi Saleh as their lead decision maker. I mean, both of these guys are going to report to him. He's going to be the top guy. I mean, obviously, there's still questions about the president of basketball operations search still being alive. And while they could hire a president of basketball operations, they're comfortable moving forward with Anzi Saleh as the lead decision maker. It gives Atlanta a solid leadership structure moving forward, and that's something that's very important in this era where the Hawks are really, defining themselves and really coming into their own. But also, there's a lot of other factors to consider. With trade value and certain guys on the market. So it's going to be interesting to watch it all unfold. And we're going to go ahead and move on and talk about a potential reunion Tim Hardaway Jr. is set to become an unrestricted free agent. We all remember THJ. The Hawks could be a logical landing spot for the veteran sharpshooter. I mean, the 33-year-old wing had a solid season in Detroit. I mean, that's the only real way to describe it. He was super solid. It wasn't anything more than that, but he was a large contributor in Detroit, having their first playoff appearance in some years. I mean, he averaged 11 points, 2 boards, and 2 assists per game. As a veteran contributor alongside Cade Cunningham, I mean, he's a spot-up shooter on the wing with great veteran experience. I mean, what's not to love about that? I mean, however, the Pistons are going to, this offseason, at least prioritize re-signing Malik Beasley instead. I mean, obviously both are free agents, but Malik Beasley was more impactful to Detroit's wins last season, and he's more of a member of their culture there. So it might be a situation where they choose between the two, and they're obviously going to choose Beasley, and they might let Hardaway walk. I mean, Beasley, given his elite shooting and I guess younger profile, would be someone that it would be smart for Detroit to retain for the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, the Hawks, who do hold the $12.8 million mid-level exception, could absolutely make a play for Hardaway. I mean, this is someone who's well within their range. Just depends on the other suitors who could potentially throw him more money. However, I don't expect him to have a very large market, but teams will be smart to throw a decent little bag at him. But the Hawks do have that mid-level exception, and I don't think it'll take all of the mid-level exception. I think he might command something around $10 million annually. I mean, his last contract was $18 million, but he's obviously not that player anymore, but he's still an impactful veteran on the wing who can contribute to winning games. He made that clear last season. Now, while he isn't the defender that he once was or ever really was, Hardaway still brings in high volume outside shooting. I mean, very high volume for the minutes that he plays, which has been sorely lacking in Atlanta's second unit. I mean, for the past several seasons. I mean, pairing him with another potential vet in Larry Nance Jr., if the Hawks choose to re-sign him, could be a valuable option. I mean, the Hawks have Larry Nance Jr.'s bird rights, and that could give the Hawks a much-needed stabilizing presence off the bench when it comes to these two veterans. I mean, Hardaway is familiar with the organization. I mean, he was with the Hawks for a couple seasons, and with Quinn Snyder placing a premium on spacing and getting out in transition and creating these great offensive looks from deep, he could be a great fit, and it's someone who I would definitely want the Hawks to consider in free agency. I mean, it could be a very underrated pickup if the front office wants to push for the playoffs while developing young talent, because he's not going to command a whole lot of minutes, but he will still definitely get a good bit. And I mean, obviously this is, the Hawks could bring him in while re-signing Karis LeVert, but if the Hawks were unable to re-sign Karis LeVert, this is an option that I think gets even more realistic, as Hawks might choose him as a fallback. So now we're going to shift gears to the NBA draft, which is just now 6 days away. I mean, it feels like we were making videos talking about the NBA draft, and it felt so far away. But now we're really here. I mean, we're under a week. This is coming up very quickly, and we're going to talk about some prospects in the next few days that we haven't really touched on a lot. And today we're going to talk about a name that has been linked to the Hawks, and not as much, but it is starting to gain traction. Nick Clifford, a 6'6 guard with a 6'10 wingspan who's already 23 years old. So there's obviously some pros and cons there already. I mean, Nick Clifford isn't your typical 3-and-D prospect. I mean, not at all. What makes him stand out is his NBA-ready skill set. He's very NBA ready. He's got versatile defense. He's advanced in the pick and roll. He makes good reads, and his secondary scoring and playmaking is elite, and it's going to translate to the NBA. I mean, just watching him play. He averaged 4.5 assists, and at the guard position, he averaged 9.6 rebounds a game. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's unheard of for guards or even wings at the collegiate level. But he was certainly there, and he's laterally quick. He's good with contesting without fouling, and he processes the game at a high level like an NBA vet. While not a pure shooter coming into college, over the years, I mean, obviously he's a senior. Over the years, he improved his three-point percentage to 37.7% and shot an overall 50% from the floor. So very efficient shooting, and while showcasing natural development over 4 seasons at Colorado State. I mean, Clifford's floor is extremely high, and that's what makes him stand out from all these prospects in the drafts and in this year's draft that is like that are like 19 years old. We don't really know a lot about them other than their raw skills. I mean, Clifford's floor is extremely high. He's physical, he's mature, he's absolutely ready to contribute on both ends from day one. He doesn't really rely on shooting to make an impact, although he is a positive shooter. I mean, his rebounding, his slashing, and decision making really make him a very intriguing target at the back end of the first round if Atlanta were to stay at 22. I mean, he's not someone who the Hawks would take at 13. I mean, we never really know. I mean, the Hawks could take a gamble at 13, but that looks extremely unlikely as he will probably be available at 22. It's someone who the Hawks could definitely take at 22 and look at it a few years later as a steal. I mean, Clifford should absolutely be on the board if the Hawks want a rotational piece who truly fits the culture and can grow into a solid two-way contributor. And now, without further ado, let's close with a trade idea. This is really by me, to be honest. There hasn't been much smoke here, but, just evaluating what's going on in the NBA right now, this is something that I think that the Hawks should absolutely consider. So we'll close with a trade idea that could be a real win-win for both sides of this trade. How about Daniel Gafford to Atlanta? The Dallas Mavericks are reportedly very interested in acquiring a second first-round pick in this year's draft. I mean, they've already got the first pick in this year's draft, which is obviously going to be Cooper Flagg. They could look to move Daniel Gafford, who's on an expiring contract, in exchange for a pick and future flexibility. I mean, it would be smart to go ahead and get off of Gafford if you're Dallas, because he's on an expiring contract and you've already got a loaded front court that's going to get more loaded with Cooper Flagg. You might want to, before he just walks in free agency for nothing, go ahead and get off of him. And then that, combined with their interest in gaining another first-round pick this season, could be an opportunity for Atlanta to really make some noise. So here's my trade proposal, and I posted this on Twitter yesterday, and it got hit with some negative feedback, so I want to hear y'all's thoughts about it in the comments. So how do y'all feel about this? How about the Hawks receive Daniel Gafford and a 2026 first-round pick, which is top 10 protected? It's not top 10 protected right now, but they would throw some protection on that to make this deal go through. And then the Mavericks receive the 13th overall pick this year from the Atlanta Hawks. I think that is a good deal. I think both teams benefit from it. I mean, this is smart business for Atlanta, guys. Gafford is a starting caliber center who's efficient, tough, and fits exactly what Atlanta needs off the bench. I mean, last season he averaged 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 block per game in just 21 minutes a night, shooting a scorching 70% from the floor. I mean, he gets great looks. And can you imagine the looks he would be getting with Trey? I mean, Atlanta would have one of the most reliable, best center rotations in the NBA with Onyeka Okongwu and Daniel Gafford. That's a great 1-2 punch that Atlanta could. I mean, if they were able to ink an extension with Gafford soon after the trade, that would be even better. I mean, it would be a great fit, and it's someone who I think Atlanta should really consider getting with their trade player exception that they have from the DeJounte Murray trade. I mean, Gafford split time with Derek Lively in Dallas, but still put up elite per minute numbers. I mean, for the Hawks, he'd immediately be the best backup big on the roster and could step into a starter's role really anytime Onyeka Okongwu underperforms or is injured. It's a great backup option, and it's really a dream scenario for Atlanta. I mean, it may be a little much getting off of the 13th overall pick, but there's no guarantee that anyone we draft at 13 is going to be better than what Daniel Gafford is now, who is a very, very solid, probably the best backup big in the NBA. I mean, even better, Atlanta keeps pick number 22 and adds another first next year, which is widely considered a stronger draft class. I mean, that's probably the most important asset of this entire trade. Atlanta's getting a pick next year, which they currently don't have. And, I mean, while getting rid of 13 is something that's going to be difficult to come to terms with, I mean, 22 in this year's draft class could net the same value as 13 in this year's draft class, considering the fact that this is such a deep draft class, and with Atlanta wanting a forward, there's going to be a lot available at 22. So you draft one rookie this year, and then next year you have a draft class that could end up, I mean, in this mock trade, it'll be top 10 protected, but if that ends up at, like 16 or 17, that's going to be something that's very valuable for Atlanta, either as a trade piece or as someone who they're going to take to, really help define the future of the basketball program. So, I mean, this is exactly the type of creative front office move that the new resume should be looking into, and I think they might explore something similar to that. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Hawks Latest. So from front office reinforcements to free agency targets, some draft options, and some creative trades created by none other than myself, the Hawks are clearly exploring every angle as they reshape the roster under some new leadership. So let me know in the comments. Would you want to see Tim Hardaway Jr. back in Atlanta? Is Nick Clifford a steal waiting to happen? And would you pull the trigger on that Gafford trade proposed by me? Thank you guys for watching again, whether you agree with it or not. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update here on Hawks Latest. We're going to be pumping out videos every single day like we always have been doing. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and conclude this episode. So I'm Zach Langley. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.